Okay. Welcome to the first episode of the Wilson Rundown. I am James Wilson. This is Jacqueline Wilson, my dear sister. Jacqueline, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good, my brother. How about
Hey,
you?
after some technical difficulty, we finally got this thing figured out. So let's see how it goes.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. This is my first time ever doing something like this. We both have kind of expressed interest in exploring the media space a little bit. So let's give this a go.
Let's do this thing. James, before we start, can I ask you to call me um Jax or Jackie or anything but my full government name? I feel like we're on a better terms than that.
I'll call you whatever you like, but you have to call me Nighthawk.
Okay, Nighthawk.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, why are we doing this? Why do you want to dive into the social media space? Tell me a little bit about it.
I feel like I feel like I have some gifts. I feel like I have some gifts that I should share to the world, and it would be a waste of a personal gift that God has given me. Um to waste my personality on and not share it online. Um, what better is it than to creatively speak to a phone and then have it reach possibly 2 people or 1,000? It's uncomfortable, and I think because it's uncomfortable, it's a good thing to step into, you know?
T- totally. Why waste your gifts on just family dinners?
Think we can all agree that, um, I have a gumption that most people don't have, and that gumption I feel like is marketable. Um, it's gotten me this far in life, and I feel like it can get me a little farther if I use media.
I completely agree. And, you are already producing results. You posted a pretty funny meme or not a meme, sorry, a reel recently of you transitioning into a Spider-Man suit. I think it got like a few hundred likes. I'm super impressed. I haven't even cracked 100 before. I'm not really a social media guy in general. I don't take pictures of myself. I don't speak to the camera and post on social media ever. So I'm kind of with you. This is a pretty big challenge for me. It's something that makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. Um, and I don't have your given gifts when it comes to this stuff. This is something that I'm going to have to grow into. And, but end of the day, I want to produce content around the stuff that I'm already interested in. Um, I want it to be extremely authentic. I want it to be me, and I want to just, create things that I'm already invested in and pursuing, just taking the time to, post it on social media. I'm really into fitness and business and, I'm a new father. I care, obviously deeply about sort of managing, um, my household. And managing is like an uncomfortable word. I wouldn't say that, but you know starting a family, it takes a lot of effort. Being in a marriage takes a lot of effort.
We're not
Making sure.
married.
uh no, you're right. That's
You're my
true.
brother, gosh darn it.
That's true. um But, yeah, and I just wanna post positive content and hopefully be a positive role model for other people out there.
I agree. Why keep ourselves in such a nutshell if we have um omni channels right at our fingertips?
I hate being in nutshells. Always have, always have. Okay, so me and you were both into running, maybe a little bit obsessed. Tell me about it. Where are you at in your running journey?
Right now, I feel like I've done a couple races. I would still say I'm a beginner runner. Um, my numbers are more towards the intermediate in terms of statistics, but I'm still getting into it. And I have 3 races on the calendar, one only booked in 2026, and that is the half marathon in May to get some speed in my legs, the 50K trail run in July, ultra run that is uncharted territories for us. It's very scary. And then I'm just gonna roll into marathon training in the fall and hit one in the fall. So I'm not sure why I take it so seriously, but it consumes about, I'd say, 50% of my brain capacity on a weekly basis. Um, and it's a love-hate relationships with this journey I've been on. I'm sure you can agree. I feel like my brain is not so complex. I wake up, I run, I work on average 10 hours a day in business administration and business management. And then I go straight on into possibly working out again right after work. I have the privilege of not having any beneficiaries. I don't have to take care of anyone but myself, and that's hard enough. So,
The half marathon that you're training for. Let's start there. What does the training look like? What's the goals? And how are you feeling?
right now I have split my training into 5 phases. It's just one big training block split into 5 phases, and the first phase is to build a base and possibly introduce some vert training because we have done no vert training. Let me just preface this by saying that the ultra marathon is my number one race. It's my main race that I am focused in on. The half marathon is more of like a fun thing that I know I wish I signed up for when it's the weekend happening and like I'm already training. So I'm just gonna throw myself in there. I still want a PR, but essentially, the first phase, it's about 4 weeks long, and it's just base building, getting some really boring mileage in on the treadmill right now because it's too cold, and then introducing some vert on the Stairmaster. Second phase of my training is very half marathon specific, so I'm gonna get some speed tempo in. So phase 2 is building mileage again and doing some speed work. And then that rolls into the half marathon on May 3rd. And then right after May 3rd, I have another phase of intense vert and trail experience building. And then that's just going to last right up until um, the ultra marathon, which I hope to get out into the trails. There's a lot of stuff that there is to look forward to in running that I've never done before. And I'm learning as I go. I still really do not know what I'm doing when it comes to trail running. But I've been watching a lot of videos. I think I'm on my 4th documentary this week on trail running and trying to absorb as much as possible, listening to a lot of podcasts. I think it's going to be a learning curve. That's where I'm at in my running. It's very experimental right now.
Love that. Yeah, we're the 50K race that we're both going to be doing. It's new territory for both of us. I've done some trail races, nothing this long, but the one thing that I learned from trail races was the vert will really get you. The elevation, if you don't train for it, if you don't train your legs, it's a big problem. Because all last year I was in marathon mode, training for road races, road marathons specifically, and then I'd sprinkle in some fun trail races. I did one that was a 10K loop, but you gained 3,500 feet of elevation. It was called the Cirque Series in Alaska, and I had, all the aerobic capacity, obviously, you always want more aerobic capacity, but for me, I was in, pretty great shape. But that vert, trying to do that with like, little to none. Real training was an extreme challenge, and I know that if we don't train for it, this race coming up with all the vert and the elevation that we're going to be gaining, it'll be a big problem if we're not ready for it. Um, so I guess how do you plan to train for that?
It's a different beast. It really is. I plan to, I think it's very like mental and spiritual trail racing is. So when we've trained a lot, we've done endless hours of road racing, and that's very robotic. That's very okay. I'm gonna go for my easy runs. I'm gonna go for my tempo runs. I'm gonna go for my long runs. But all three of those runs are the same robotic cadence that is, we're checking our paces. A 30-second difference in a kilometer pace is um detrimental to your race. Like if you're going 30 too fast, 30 too slow. And the real challenge with trail racing, what we need to learn is that, sometimes we're going to be walking and sometimes we're going to be bombing a hill. And those things need to be very strategic when you do it. Like just because we feel like we can run up this hill doesn't mean we should. Um, and really throwing away the time per kilometers is something that's going to be really challenging, but you have to do it. You have to do it in trail racing. Like, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but from what I've learned is that you need to reach like a certain vert per week. And I think those days sometimes are going to look like, okay, I'm going to go run to a certain hill and I'm just going to run up it 20 times and do as many walk breaks as I need to just complete that 20. So maybe I'll do it with like heart rate zones. If my heart rate is going into like zone 5, then yeah, I'm going to start walking up the hill because you have to think about, okay, in the race, you're going to have endless hills. You kind of just have to keep like a steady effort, and trying to feel where that steady effort is going to be hard because in road racing, a steady effort means a steady pace. And you could lock into a pace and you're going to feel the same throughout that pace. And in trail running, you're going to have to alter your pace to keep that same effort for like hours on end. So I think if me and you get into like some actual trail training, so going out into the mountains and saying, okay, like we're just going to spend 5 hours out here running, not specifically, okay, we're going to go get a 30-kilometer run in. It's like, no, let's go get on our feet for 4 to 5 hours, see how we feel, and then call it a day type of thing. That's my approach to it. But I'm not going to focus in on that approach until right after the half marathon, because I feel like if I build some speed in my legs, get the white muscle nerves or whatever they call it going, um, get some endurance in my legs with speed, I think it's going to help roll into that specific trail racing block that I'm going to do right after May 3rd, going into a race for July. June 11th, is it July or June?
It's June.
June 11th, if that
So
makes sense.
that's the trick, right? Um, is we don't have that much time because you're running the half, I'm running the full.
Mm,
Um, and
which I
yeah, it's
think
not.
is just a mistake.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm locked in. Um, I think I'm gonna go for a slight PR. I think my PR is 3:25. I want to go sub 3:20. I built up a ton of fitness since then that I've definitely lost again, but I think gaining it back is gonna be pretty. I don't want to say easy. I'm gonna have to put in the work, but I think it'll come back. You know, and you kind of spoke about how in road racing the the units of measurement or sort of those goals that you're trying to hit are really tangible. You know what pace you can run at a certain heart rate. You know that if you're doing a 10 by 800 meter speed workout, you know which times that you're hitting exactly. Where trail racing, it is like really time on feet and grit, and there's so many different variables that, even if you're racing the same race year after year, the race can be completely different based off of weather and trail conditions and all of these different things. So it's really just about going out there and giving your best effort, leaving everything you have on that course. Where, I really like road racing because I can easily measure where my fitness is at any point. Like, I took a bit of a break off of high mileage for the past couple months, and now I'm getting back into it. And, for example, I used to be able to run, like, around just over a 5-minute kilometer, and that was zone 2. Easy for me, really conversational. Now, an easy conversational pace for me is like 5:30, 5:40, or on a treadmill would have been like I'd be at 7 miles per hour. Now I'm at like 6, maybe 6.5. So I can easily measure that, and I'll easily be able to tell, okay, I got my fitness back because I'm running again 5-minute kilometers at a zone 2 conversational pace. Or I can go hit the track and I'd be okay, I got my fitness back because I'm doing these 800-meter reps at 3 minutes, and I can do a 1-minute break in between. I can do 8 of those, so I know, okay, I'm ready to go. There's other factors there that you want to be thinking about, like is your leg strength there? Can your legs endure a 3 hour, 20-minute all out pace for a marathon? That's going to come from your long runs, doing these 20-mile. Sorry, I'm back in Canada, so 32-kilometer runs at certain paces and certain intervals, and are you developing that time on feet? So it's just a totally different ball game. And I am going to solely focus for the most part on this marathon coming up in May, and then we're going to have to roll into this ultra training. But the scary part is there's not enough time. We got a month, and you're gonna need a week to recover after the marathon at least, assuming you don't get injured. And then we're gonna roll right into ultra training, and like how much fitness can you build? Like I think you're gonna have the aerobic capacity, but it's your legs. Do you have it in your legs to do all of that up and down, all of those meters going up the hill, down the hill? So like my suggestion is as soon as the snow melts here in Blue Mountain where we're going to be doing this race, I think we got to incorporate once a week, once every 2 weeks, getting some real elevation. Otherwise, that 50K race is, how competitive can we be?
It's true. That's why I say for me anyways, the half marathon in May is more just like of a fun race. I'm gonna see how high I can get my VO2 max up and really just go for the 21 kilometers. It's not so much about building my legs, but at the same time, I'm gonna be focusing on building my legs and my aerobic fitness, and then just going to smash a half marathon just because I know when the weekend comes around, we live in Toronto, the Toronto half marathon's up, everyone's talking about it. I'm gonna wanna go have fun. So that's kind of my approach to it. And as soon as the snow melts, we need to do like every weekend if we can, um, in the mountains going and trying to, those like 4 hour efforts, we'll start with probably like a 3 hour effort in the mountains, five, taking breaks where we need to. And, as soon as possible, as soon as the snow melts, like I'm not really waiting until after the Toronto marathon. I'm not really waiting till after that to do the vert training. Like specifically, I'll show you my training is split into 5 phases, and the first phase is base building and introducing some speed and hill work. And then my second phase starts at week 7 and goes strength and speed. So I'm still working on, the endurance in my legs. It's not all about the aerobic fitness, like, like the marathon. I feel like when I did the marathon, I still lacked that strength in my legs that I needed because I was going for like a 3:30 marathon, and then the last 10K, my legs fell apart and I ended up with like a 350. So if I had that extra experience and my legs would have went a lot better. And then phase 3 is like 3 weeks out from the half marathon. I'm specifically training for the half marathon there. I'm getting like my times in, my tempo runs in. And then phase 4 is just right after the marathon. We have a full ultra build. And that's from weeks 13 all the way up to 23. So we have 10 weeks after that, but hopefully come April, right before May, we can get into the trail running and having like some fun weekend outings instead of, doing like the 30-kilometer long runs every week. I also heard that doing like a long run and then going out and hitting another semi long run the next day is how a lot of people get that grit in their legs, how they train for an ultra marathon. So maybe a weekend would look like, okay, I just went out and I hit a 25-kilometer long run. Next day, we're out into the mountains doing, more of a time on feet trail running experience. I feel like that would be good.
That makes a ton of sense. And yeah, like I live in the race is, right across the street from where I live. So we got a pretty good little training camp up
You
here,
have the
which
home field advantage.
definitely, definitely. So what does a week of training look like for you right now?
Right now in the base building, I'm just getting the boring mileage in on the treadmill. So this week it's gonna be like 4. I'm running about 5 times a week, so 4 um boring sessions in, or more so 3. Not so high mileage. I'm trying to be very meticulous about not getting injured or not doing too much too soon. So I'm at around 8 kilometers for my easy runs. Probably do 3 of those this week, and then have another 8 sort of kilometer run with some faster kilometers in there. So maybe I'll hit, 2 kilometers easy, 4 kilometers tempo, 2 kilometers easy again, and that will be my hard session for the week. And then my long run this weekend will probably hit 15. So it's pretty chill right now. Only about 40 kilometers in the week. What about you?
Yeah, nice. Mine right now, I'm running 5 days a week, taking Thursdays and Mondays off, long run on Sundays. And I'm doing one speed, one tempo work, um, per week. And, I'll be anywhere from like 50 to 80 kilometers a week, depending on where I'm at in the build. And then just lifting, 2 or 3 times a week, and if I miss the lifts, it is what it is, just 'cause, and I only got so much time in a day.
Let's talk about lifting. So, you know, at its core, we are meatheads and we like to lift. We like to look good. We like to bench heavy. And how does that, correlate with your running goals this year? Lifting in the gym.
Yeah, honestly, I lift weights just so I don't look like a milk bag, especially with all the mileage that I plan on putting in. But, in terms of the way it correlates with my running, I'd really wanna build up that leg strength, because you can just never have enough, especially when you're at mile 20 of the marathon. That's when you feel it, and that's when you start thinking like, "Fuck, shouldn't have missed that leg day." I should have worked more on my hamstrings and my calves and my quads because that'll make or break your marathon time. It's pretty easy to build up that fitness just by running all the time, and it's so easy to just skip the leg day. And especially, once the mileage really builds up, it's easy to get injured. You do a heavy leg day, and then you got to speed work the next day, or have your workouts are falling. It's easy to get injured. So like the last 2 months, I've been, training legs regularly once a week, heavy compound movements and really building up that leg strength. And I'm still gonna hit legs as I build up to this marathon, but it'll be less volume just so I can avoid injury, um,
Yeah.
especially as I really peak.
I have, like, a full-on different approach to leg training this time around, like, it was my first marathon last year. I ran my first one in November a couple months ago, and eventually my leg training just fell off. I wasn't prioritizing my leg lifts anymore, like, my high mileage was really getting to me, and I just felt like I couldn't fit it in. Um, it's really intimidating to go hit a hard leg day and then knowing the next day you have 10 plus kilometers to run, and then the next day you have another 10 and then another 10 and then a 30. This time around, I'm prioritizing at least once a week. I'm getting in those lifts, but I'm not lifting like a bodybuilder would lift for legs. I'm doing more like mobility, lower weight, higher reps, just making sure I can, um, get, like, the depth in my squat or I'm not gonna squat for 8 to 10 or 6 to 8 or 8 or 6 to 12 even. I'm squatting just the bar for 15 and then maybe going right into lunges, like, making sure my leg muscle endurance is there and fighting off the injury. Because if you can go from 15 squats with the bar right into, walking lunges, I feel like that will prevent your injury with running more than loading the bar and doing six squats, and I know that you can argue each way, but I'm prioritizing that, okay, like, if I'm doing this lift right now, I need to tomorrow, it's non-negotiable, I need to run. Even if my legs are sore, I'm gonna run, and making sure that, my legs aren't so sore that it affects my run to the point where I'm getting injured, that's my priority. So, maybe just sticking my leg days to more so like on my harder run days. So my legs are already warmed up and my leg day is probably just gonna be 30 minutes because I'm just trying to go, like maybe like 12 sets, 3 different exercises plus a hard run. Um, And then I'm hoping that will build, I'm trying to just make my legs as resistant as possible to injury and fatigue. Not so much, focusing on building my glutes or my quads or my calves. Like, everything is kind of I'm not really isolating any muscle. Everything is pretty much compound movements, and it has some sort of cardio, um, attached to it. So, back-to-back supersets. And I feel like if I really stay consistent and I prioritize my strength training, it'll make my running, even in just the marathon, not just trail running, like 10 times better. Like, I'll be able to keep that 5:15 pace throughout the entire marathon.
Totally. Yeah, you're bang on. That's smart. I want to do something similar too. I mean, I'm gonna my running day off on Thursday. I want it to be a leg day, so I can really get after it. And then I'll just take the Mondays just completely off.
Yeah, and I'm going from 6 days a week lifting. Like, I have arms like a python right now. My back's built like a turtle. I got boulders for shoulders, and right now, I'm kinda just letting my ego go a little bit. Those things don't matter all that much right now, and, I've been hitting those, like, 7-kilometer easy runs, and then I'll go hit, like, 15 minutes of chest or, like, 15 minutes of back. I don't wanna waste my energy on these hour-long lifts, as much as I'd like to, but let's be honest, lifting is too fucking easy. Lifting's like it just feels like a holiday. You go
Totally.
in there, you get your ego lifted a little bit, you get your bicep vein popping out, you feel like you can go to the bar and have a flock of birds just surrounding you all at once, and, sometimes when you're running, you feel like shit, you look like shit, but what's important is to persevere through that because what your body can do is much more impressive in here than what your body looks like on the outside. It's really superficial and, it needs to be honed in sometimes, like, it almost feels gluttonous in a way when you're going to the gym and you're lifting, like, 6 times a week just to, like, have, like, a admirable chest. that just feels that feels a little creepy sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little creepy, like, who are we really trying to impress other than the other male meathead gaze? So then when you go for those runs and you kinda put lifting in the back corner, like, it feels like you're really working on yourself. It's more of an internal battle, and then lifting's like an external battle. So compounding lifting just to support your running, I feel like you're just more of a well-rounded person on the inside and out. Um, but correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I completely agree. I love lifting. It makes you feel good, but it's not. I never say like, Man, I got to go lift weights today." Like, no, that's awesome. It's the best part of my day.
It
But
is.
like the discipline that you acquire from waking up at like 4 or 5 a.m. It's cold, maybe it's raining, and you still go get that run in because it's the last thing you wanted to go do. You're like, I just want to sleep. And you go get it in, and furthermore, you wanna quit sometimes during those runs. Like, "Man, it's just not my day," or you're just pushing it really hard, but you keep on going, or you're spending, 2 hours on a treadmill because you can't go run outside because we live in Canada and it's a blizzard or whatever. Like, those calluses and that discipline that you acquire from doing these things truly transfers into other aspects of your life. Like simple stuff. Like I recently restained a dining room table set. And it's tedious work. No one wants to do it, sanding and staining, doing 2 or 3 coats on it. And I actually have that thought pop in my head when I feel like giving up. I'm like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. I'm just gonna go inside and, go grab a bite to eat or whatever. And I say, no, man, you just spent 2 hours on a treadmill this morning. This is easy. Keep going. Or whether it's like completing a tedious project at work, if I'm doing some market analyst and trying to develop a new rate strategy for the business that I operate, um, and or I'm developing, next year's budget and you're just like neck deep in an Excel spreadsheet and you just have that extra gear to keep on going where other people would quit. They'd say,
It's true.
I'm just gonna step away and go watch reels or whatever. It's like, no, you built these muscles in your brain, these just the ability not to quit.
Right. And, you know, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I just think about that all the time. Like, if you woke up and you didn't make your bed this morning, it just translates to laziness about every part of your life. And um, running is just an internal battle, which I feel like lifting is very external. Like, if you don't have as big as biceps as your peers, or you feel like you have a higher body fat percentage than your peers, then you're gonna feel like shit. That's an external battle. It's just literally visually comparing yourself to someone else. Internally with running, someone's always gonna be faster than you. Someone is beating your marathon time by an hour, and that doesn't matter at all. Like, nobody cares that the person to the left of you ran it 30 minutes faster, or the person that to left you ran it, 30 minutes slower. Someone who ran that 5-hour marathon time probably had a harder time than the person and persevered more and showed more grit than the person who finished it in sub 3. Everything is relative in apples to apples in running, and, like, just running is impressive in itself because your mind is telling you to stop the entire time.
Mhm,
It's trying to survive, and just, like, showing up every day and running, no matter how good you are at it, you're always a race it's always a race against yourself, and I feel like having comparing it to something with, like, when it's lifting, it's very aesthetic. Like, you literally go on a stage and you in the elite level, you stand beside all these people, and you're just comparing your lats, and it's like, that is so weird.
mhm,
Like, and then if you went as a normal man who works a job every single day and you ran a sub 3-hour marathon. That's, like, incredible. But there was, like, 100 other people or 1,000 other people in that marathon who did it too. You don't care about those 1,000 other people because maybe one of those Joes didn't have a job and they don't have a kid and they all they do is train. So it's like, what can you accomplish in your life while running with what's given to you? It's all so circumstantial, and it's an internal battle, which makes it an incredible journey in your in yourself.
No, I completely agree. It's a beautiful thing about running. You're just competing against yourself. I'm never gonna be the fastest runner in the world. I'm never gonna
Never,
win a marathon. It's never gonna happen, right?
never.
It doesn't even cross my mind. I don't care. No, I don't there's literally no one that I'm trying to beat besides myself. And it's, and nobody cares if I wake up in the morning and get that run done. I'm the only one that cares, but it's a win that I can get that will set the rest of my day up for success. And, you know, you're constantly in this battle with yourself. And it's not a negative battle, it's a positive one where you're saying, I'm gonna be better than what I was yesterday. And that momentum carries forth into so many different things in your life. And that's why it's just so beautiful, these are endurance sports. There's no vanity here. It's truly just in the pure effort of self-improvement. And I love that about it. Um, but yeah, Jackie, do you know what the best thing about training in Canada is for me right now?
What's the best part?
Well, as you know, I spent the last 2 years in Alaska, and
Yes.
Alaska has a lot of moose.
They do indeed have a couple moose.
Yeah, I spent the last 2 years in a place called Girdwood, Alaska, and it's I'd see a moose, 2 or 3 moose a week, um, and I wanna tell this story here on this podcast, if you don't mind.
I
Um,
don't mind, but you better bring out the receipts of that day.
the receipts, are you talking about my Koros app?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see if I can, I'll see if I can slide it in here afterwards.
Alright,
Um,
go ahead. Tell the best story of all time.
I will. So, I would I've had several run-ins with wildlife in Alaska, and all of them too close for comfort, but never actually being in any real danger. And one day, super early in the morning, it was like, 5 in the morning, I'm running in Alaska, and I always have my dog Ruby with me. She's a German Shepherd, and she's never on leash in Alaska. And normally she's sort of like within 5 feet of me. But one morning I just wasn't paying attention, and I look around for Ruby, and she's not there. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's Ruby? And she's a good dog. Like, I'm not worried about her running away. So I didn't, I just whistled for her, and I knew she'd come back and meet me somewhere. And so, anyways, I hear some ruffling in the woods, and I look over, and essentially Ruby comes out of the woods with a moose, like in a tussle with a moose. And the moose kind of gets up on its hind legs and like tries to stomp Ruby out. And I swear I saw that moose stomp her like right on her butt. And I thought Ruby was done for. Like, if not dead, like, awful injury. She gets up, she's good. And the moose says, I'm done with your dog, looks up and says, I'm coming for you. So I'm like, oh my God, yeah, run. So I start running literally as fast as I can. I think on my Koros app, it said like 4-minute mile is the pace I was going. So this moose is on my ass. It's maybe like 10 feet behind me. And the only thing that stopped the moose from getting from me is Ruby kept on nipping at its heels. So it was kind of distracting the moose, tripping it up. It wasn't able to get to me. And I made it to a porta potty. I hide behind the porta potty, and I'm kinda doing like a ducking and dodging, checking either side of the porta potty because the moose is trying to get me. Eventually, I fake one way and then go the other, and I'm able to, like, gain a little bit of distance on the moose, but obviously it just turns around and keeps on coming for me again. Ruby's still nipping at its heels, and so eventually, I'm running again as fast as I can. I'm kind of blacking out. I got no more gas left. I'm seeing stars. Like when you're like running for that long, that fast, at like a max effort, eventually like, you kind of get tunnel vision. Like you're gonna pass out. But by the grace of God, essentially the moose goes back into the forest where it came out to attack us because we did a loop. We ran to the porta potty, then we ran all the way back, and the moose eventually left us alone. Thank God. Ruby's like, "This is the best. This is the
Yeah,
best
where was
one."
Ruby the entire time?
Ruby's just loving life, like trying to she was trying to protect me from the moose the whole time. The moose was trying to get at me, and like while the moose is trying to get at me, the moose and the dog are like having scuffles.
Yeah.
Ru German Shepherds are herding dogs, so this is like she thinks that she's herding this moose.
She was like, "Finally, I have a job to do." Cause I've been running with you in Alaska, and she just surrounds the borders of the trail, like, the entire run. She'll go, like 5 feet in front of you, 5 feet behind you. If you start dropping me on the trail, she will just look back at me the entire time or leave you alone, and she was like, "Finally a threat. I must protect my my human."
It was like, "I've been waiting for this day."
And
Been
she
waiting
did good. I think she saved your life.
honestly, like 100%, it would've been really bad. It would if
And you show you're having a normal run on your Koros, and then you show your split time just goes, "Holy shit, there's a moose." And you start going from, like, what, like 7-minute miles, which is pretty fast, but, like, and then all of a sudden to, like, 4-minute miles you see for the next, like, 10 minutes. And then you see exactly when you stopped at the porta potty, and then exactly when you left again. And then your run was only like 4 kilometers that day when it was supposed to be like 25, and you're like, "Okay, I need a break. I need a
no,
rest
I
day."
had to go home. I had to go home after that. I was like, "This run's done." And, like, for the next while, I was just like, I'd be stressing out every time I went for a run because I'm, worried about the same thing happening. But, yeah, I lived to tell the tale. You hear stories about that all the time, and you're like, "Oh, it's not never gonna be me," I won't let that happen, but, yeah, it gave me a whole new respect for just Mother Nature and moose specifically. Um, yeah, yeah, no, that was wild.
Incredible. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
What did you think of Alaska when you came to visit?
I loved Alaska. Now, I've had the privilege to travel to quite a lot of countries in the last 3 years. I think I've been to probably, like, I don't know, 10, and not that Alaska's its own country, but can we just agree that the United States of America, like, you can go from Hawaii to Alaska. That shit to me is different countries. I'm not even thinking about America. I'm thinking about Alaska. And I had the privilege to go visit Alaska, and it was one of my favorite places that I've ever visited, and I think it's because of its its isolation. It just felt weird there, like, I've been to really mountainous, amazing, wilderness-esque places, like, I've hiked the Alps in Switzerland. Stunning. But it didn't have the eeriness that Alaska had. Like, you asked me, "Hey, do you wanna run a half marathon tomorrow?" And I wasn't in the training, I wasn't running at all, and I woke up and I ran that half marathon in Alaska. and it was just like it was quiet, it was a little creepy, it was it was cool, it was beautiful, and it was just it's just a weird place to be, and I like it. I like it a lot.
And so, okay, yeah, that's interesting, that you brought that up because before that half marathon, you always said, like, why would you pay, like, $150 to do a race? Like, I'm just gonna go do it myself, and you're like, "You know what? I wanna go try and run a half marathon." And so we did it, and you accomplished it, and ever since then, you now have the same running addiction that I have, and we have, like, 3 paid races for this year. We did a bunch last year.
I know.
You
I'm
caught the
sick. I would
bug.
always say that, like, "Why am I paying this when I could just go do it?" But, like, it's just not the same. Like, it's not the same. It's a sport. It's a community. It's like, all the hard work has been done, and the race is just like a celebration of like, "Okay, let's see what you fucking got. Let's see what you got, cowboy, and let's get a medal for it. Let's get a little applause, a little pat on the back." And just like I tell everyone, even if you aren't a good runner, even if you feel like you can't run the full 20, just a half marathon, just go, sign up for the race. If you have to walk half of it, that's okay. Like, to feel the energy of, like, 30,000 people running like, trail as you, and everyone's a winner, there's that like, my first race experience changed my life. It really did. Like, my last minute, "Okay, sure," like, I was already running every day. I was fine, I'll sign up for a race, let's waste $150, let's just do it. And I was like, "Holy shit, I get it now." Like, it was like, to see everyone gather, because you feel like you're the only one doing what you're doing. Let's be honest. Especially when you're working in corporate America, you feel like nobody else is doing this. Why am I waking up at 4:30 in the morning? Why the hell am I going after I just worked a 10-hour day and running like 15 kilometers on a treadmill? Like, why am I doing this? And then you get to these races where everybody was doing what you were just doing with their own circumstances, and we're all here together to just get like that final hoorah. One of the most powerful things I've ever done in my life. And it sounds so weird, but it was like, people actually care this much to shut down an entire city and let us run on the main streets of a major city? For what? For what? And I still don't understand why. But it's a beautiful thing because it's everyone from me, a 24-year-old who doesn't have many responsibilities, to someone who, has even like someone who has a disability, and they running is doesn't come as naturally to them. They're doing the same 21 kilometers or 42 kilometers, and it's just like everybody in the race means something to everybody
Mhm.
that you couldn't understand, but it's special. And there's just a feeling in the air that's like, wow, unlike any other feeling you'll get on race day. And it's so weird. Like, everything just clicks. It's like, okay, like, I understand why I was doing this now. And you're like, thank God I signed up for this. Thank God I endured the process of getting up in the morning and wanting to, end it all sometimes. And you're like, whoa, this is fun. And then you just immediately sign up for your next race. It's interesting.
No, that's it, and, I la last year, I had that marathon at the end of the year that I trained my ass off for, and I was in the best shape of my life, and I missed it because of, flight cancellations, which was absolutely heartbreaking, but you were amazing, and you're like, "Yeah, let's go do this marathon just on our own," and we picked a course, and you rode a bike, and I went to go do it, and essentially I got, I think, a pain in my quad or my hamstring, and, I could have finished that marathon, and if I was actually in a marathon, I would've, but because you're not actually in the race and in that environment, you're like, "This just isn't worth it. I'm not gonna be able to run for weeks for sure if I keep going." Um, it's just not worth it, but if you're in that environment, there's no way I would've stopped. There's no way. I wouldn't have been able to walk afterwards. It would have been a big problem, but
Yep. It would have
it
been a big problem. But on race day, you're looking at the bird next to you, and you're going like, "We're all ready to throw down."
yeah.
To throw down, like, give an effort like you've never felt in your entire life, and there's something extraordinary about feeling that energy come off of, Joe and Bob and Nicole sitting right beside you. There's it's an insane thing. I don't know what it is. Human beings are insane. I'm one of them, and I like it. It really quite frankly, it really tickles my pickle. Marathon training and the marathon itself. Like, moment I crossed that finish line, I was just crying. It's like, "Holy, that was the hardest thing I've ever done." And I put in, like, months of training. But, like, there was thousands of people cheering for me, and I didn't even know them. And because the people there know exactly how hard it is, the process you just endured in the race you just ran, and it's like, wow.
And all of the people that take time out of their day to go cheer everyone on. Like, I'm sure for the most part, people know people that are in this marathon, but, in these major marathons, there's so many people that come out, and man, does it give you some serious juice when you come past a crowd of cheering people, and they're all so nice. They're like, "Come on, you got like 10 more kilometers left. Keep pushing. You got this." And you see like funny signs that say, "Oh, there's beer at the end of this," or like, "Remember that you paid for this," or whatever it is, right? And it just kind of, it's not something that you can just replicate
You
on
can't.
your own. It's not the same, and there's something to be said for penciling a date in your calendar, and you say, "This is the date where I'm going to do something extraordinary." It might not be extraordinary on a global stage, but it's extraordinary for you. And that's all that really matters. And that's why, we're all so addicted to this running thing.
Yep, it's just, you know what? We all signed up, we all paid to just accomplish something really hard. And just like I said, that sub 3-hour marathon is just as hard for that person who finished a 5-hour marathon. It's about effort, and do I ever applaud that effort? It is an extraordinary thing. I can't even think of something that comes close to the idea of an endurance sport. It's very interesting.
Childbirth.
Yeah, but childbirth is like, you gotta do something real weird to get that child, so I'll never get there.
Never know. You never
You know
know.
when you look at a pregnant woman and you're like, "Wow, that's amazing," but you did something really bad to get it, didn't you? Like,
I don't think.
"Whoa, somebody was having a good night tonight. About 9 months ago, you were doing the dirty.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's not my view on it, but I appreciate your perspective.
About 9 months ago, you were getting humped like a dog."
Oh my god.
You need to edit that out.
No, no, this is actually live. Just kidding. I love you like a sister. And yeah, I look forward to um training with you, putting in that work to achieve our goals. And yeah, yeah, just thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and, don't forget to wash.
See you later. Bye bye.